And welcome to the Cardinals Nest here on HBC Channel 25. Thanks for watching the sports show devoted exclusively to St. Mary's University athletics. Dean Beckman, along with my co-host Donny Nadeau, who's the sports information director at St. Mary's. And Donny, I've got to ask before we preview today's show, have you been through the haunted forest yet at St. Mary's, still going through this holiday weekend?
I have not yet this weekend. I'm hoping to get up there probably Sunday night. But yeah, you're right. I talked to Coach Jen Miller, who's in charge of the Haunted Forest. Said the first 2 days were outstanding. Had a lot of people, and filing through pretty good. And then this weekend they've got 3 days going, and hopefully get a lot of people out there and enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Jen made a life-size Jack in the Box, so that's the new treat this year. So it's really neat. They put a lot of work into that fundraiser, and I think that everybody that goes through it has a good time. A lot of them are repeats, and will come back night after night as well as year after year.
Yep. So you're going up Sunday night. When I hear someone scream like a girl, I'll know who it is. And I'm still chuckling over Jen's appearance on our Cardinals Nest last time out. She did a great job, brought one of those masks. And today on our interview segment, someone just as scary, Donny. Mike Lester, our head volleyball coach, is going to be on the show today. And, we haven't had him on yet this year. Usually, he's one of the first guests of the year, Mike Lester.
Well, he usually comes to me and says, when do we start the Cardinals Nest so I can be the first one on it? And this year he kind of shied away. I think he's afraid of us. After all the ribbing we give him on the show, he probably was afraid to come on. But we convinced him to come on today, talk about Cardinal volleyball as they get ready for their last 2 matches of the season, and kind of wrap up this season and what he's seen from the Cardinals this year.
Well, and this entire show is part of a wrap-up and part of a preview, because a lot of the fall sports are now concluding, and the winter sports like hockey, basketball, swimming, and diving all getting ready to get started. So we have a lot to get to here on the show. Donny, we begin with men's volleyball action, and they are in a 4-game scoreless streak right now, and they are coming off of a double overtime loss. I mean, the consecutive string of close matches this year is unbelievable. The defense has been great. The offense just hasn't been there, and they're coming off a 1-0 2-overtime loss to McAllister the other night.
Yeah, Coach Pete Watkins has got to be pounding his head against the wall, wondering what his team has to do to pick up a win. They played an outstanding game Tuesday night against, in that match against McAllister, and unfortunately came away with a loss. McAllister has a really, really talented player in Taylor Rasmussen, and St. Mary's did a great job of bottling him up, not letting him get free until the second overtime. McAllister had a corner kick, and Taylor was there to put it in the back of the net. And it's really unfortunate. St. Mary's has now played 5 overtime games, and 3 of them have come out on the short end, and 2 of them have ended in 0-0 ties. And you look at that, that's 5 games. They've had 10 games this year that have been decided by a goal or less, and you get a break here or there, and all of a sudden you're talking about a team that's definitely above 500, and probably talking about potential playoff implications. And unfortunately they haven't been able to get the ball to bounce their way, and certainly can be frustrating. But watching the guys play on Tuesday, they're giving it everything they've got, and they're playing, from the opening kick until the final whistle, they're giving it 100%. And really, at this stage of the season, that's all you can ask of them.
Yeah, and as you said, their record 2-12-2, and 10 games have been decided by 1 goal or less. Really, Pete Watkins is a recruit or 2 away, an offensive recruit or 2 away from totally turning this thing around.
No question. They're very solid defensively. Joey Petrich played his first game in goal for the Cardinals on Tuesday, and had 13 saves. So obviously a great start for him as a freshman goalkeeper. And he gave Chris Williams a little break. Chris had started every game this season, so I'm sure he wasn't happy about not playing, but it was probably good to give him a break and see what Joey could do, because next year they're going to have to rely on him and Christian Van Dam in goal. And so there's a lot of pieces that are going to be returning next year. I think you're right. I think Coach Watkins is maybe a recruiting class away from hopefully talking about playoffs and getting the Cardinals up in the upper half of the conference standings.
And then men's soccer, of course, they conclude this weekend, Donny, their last game in MIAC contest.
Yeah, it's against Augsburg at 3:30 up at Okemowicz Field. And we always talk about those last games. I know we talked about it earlier this year with the volleyball team, but it's a special game in that it's the last collegiate game for the 4 graduating seniors: Chris Williams, Brian New, Bobby Gass, and Jermaine Venter. So there's certainly some there'll be some momentum there and some pride in the Cardinals trying to send their 4 graduating seniors off with a victory, and those are 4 people that will be definitely tough to replace for Coach Watkins. Jermaine has been the top offensive threat for the last 3 years, and Brian New has just been an outstanding defender, and they moved him to the midfield a little bit this year, and he's just done a phenomenal job. He's an outstanding player. Bobby Gasson has done a great job, and when you talk about Chris Williams, what can you say? The guy started 25 straight games over the last 2 seasons. He's got 3 shutouts this year. He's just had a phenomenal senior campaign, and will certainly be missed next year. And all 4 of them, it's going to be, it's tough to replace them. And no matter who Coach Watkins brings in, you're going to feel the loss of those 4 next year.
Yeah, big losses indeed. So the final home game Saturday afternoon up at St. Mary's. And Donny, the women's soccer team, they are on a 2-game scoreless streak right now. And as I look at their record, 3-12. What I look at is their worst loss, Donny, is 3-0. I mean,
yeah.
They haven't given up more than 3 goals all season. So again, great goalkeeping throughout the year, just not enough offense.
Absolutely, and it's almost like a mirror image when you talk about the women's team and you talk about the men's team, because you're right. Defensively, they're pretty solid, and they go up against McAllister as we tape on Wednesday night, and then they close out against Augsburg. So 2 very good teams, but defensively, St. Mary's is playing very well. Cassie Hewlett, the senior goalkeeper, has been hurt the last couple of weeks, so Miranda Halling has been seeing the majority of the duties in goal and is doing an outstanding job, and I think that's something that Coach Cassidy can build off of. Obviously, as a coach, you want to build from the back out, and if you've got a solid freshman keeper coming back and some strong defenders, it's it's positive for the future. But I think just like you talk about with the men, the women need to find a scorer. They need to find that go-to person that they can go to pick up some goals. And right now you've got to look at Terry Valenzuela. She's second on the team in goals and points. So she's coming back next year she'll be a junior. So I think that she'll be one of those. And Sloan Kermodo will be back after a year of studying abroad. So there are some people coming back that can score goals. It's just a matter of getting in the right place and in the right situations.
Okay, so they actually start off the doubleheader on Saturday right at 1 o'clock, and then the men at 3?
Yeah, 1 o'clock, and just like the men, it's senior day, and for the women, they lose 7 players. There's 7 seniors on this year's squad, and so they're going to be greatly missed, and it's it's a really talented group of individuals: Cassie Hewlett, Ellie Bradford, Amanda Raymond, Kelsey Brown, Kelsey Schneider, Ashley Gurnis, and Rachel Gates-Vickery. How about that? I remembered all 7 of them.
That was good. I'm very, very impressed.
But it's again, anytime you talk about, those are 7 players who played from their freshman year all the way through to their senior year. So you've got 7 people that Coach Watkins is going to have to replace, and not only their performance on the field, but their leadership off the field as well. And I think that every time we talk about senior day, it's a tough time for the coaches, because you're saying goodbye to some pretty amazing individuals, and those 7 women's soccer players they're great individuals on the field as well as off the field. And as we talked about with the men, there's no question that when they take the field next year, those 7 people are going to be sorely missed.
Yeah, I talked to Ashley Gurnis the other day, raved about the coach, raved about the team, clearly feels it's on an upswing, and so that's good, even though things didn't go this well. And I actually stand corrected as I took a double glance at the scores. Their worst loss, 3-1, so they did not lose any games by more than 2 goals this year.
And it's and they the ladies are right. Coach Cassidy's doing a phenomenal job, and he's put into place some things that that the team can build off of. And I think if you look at both of the new coaches there, Coach Cassidy and Coach Watkins, I think both of them are doing a phenomenal job. They're putting in place what they want, the players, that their kind of philosophy, and so far the players are buying into it, and that's what you need. You need everybody to be in this together, and it's a process. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, and we mentioned it with Coach Watkins. It may be 1 or 2 recruiting classes away. That's 2 years. So, this is a process and something that they've just got to continue to build and continue to work on. And if everybody's buying into the philosophies of the coaching staff, things are going to be headed in the right direction. Yeah. Coach Cassidy and Watkins are doing outstanding jobs so far.
Yep, great. All right, and in cross country, head coach Ward Barrett is going to be taking his team to the MIAC Championships. That's at the Como Park Golf Course in St. Paul, and that's this upcoming weekend. And they're actually coming off a few weeks ago. They held their last meet before the championships, and really kind of set themselves up to where they hope to be. And I think the men especially proved that they can hang with the best in the conference.
No question. And Coach Barrett is excited about what the men's team can do. They're very deep, probably the deepest team that he's had heading into the conference championships. They haven't competed in a meet in 2 weeks, which is exactly how Coach Barrett sets things up. He wants them to be able to be fresh as they head to the conference championships, and then 2 weeks from now they'll be ready for the NCAA Central Regional. So he's got his guys and the ladies set up exactly how he wants them. Now the key is he's got to be able to keep them healthy. I know that a couple of the guys are battling a few of the nagging injuries that you get in a long, running season like that. But you look at the depth of that squad, and Coach Barrett has high expectations. They can, they can certainly make some noise this weekend at the conference championships. On the women's side, the depth isn't quite as solid, mainly because it's a lot of inexperienced people, and you're going to have a lot of different people running in the conference championship. One of the two biggest meets of the season for the Cardinals, and so I'm sure nerves are going to be, there's going to be plenty of butterflies, and the nerves are going to be there, but. I think Coach Barrett's pretty excited about the weekend, except for the fact that he's the host of the event, so he's pretty nervous about all the things that he has to do in terms of getting everything ready, especially being that St. Paul is 2 hours away and we're hosting it. So it's not like hosting a meet in your own backyard, but it's a big weekend for the Cardinals up at Como Park.
All right, and we'll hear from Coach Barrett in a week or two here on the Cardinals Nest. We'll get him on, and I'm sure he'll talk plenty about the championships this upcoming weekend. Also, Donnie, some of the winter sports getting started. Let's preview those now. Men's hockey gets started this weekend. They held their red-white game last weekend, and no real big surprises as far as who made the squad, who didn't make the squad, because they have so many returning players. In fact, their top 4 forward lines all coming back. I mean, you talk about a team with a lot of returning experience and guys who played most of the minutes last year. Pretty much everyone is back for St. Mary's.
Yeah, and if you look at it, you talk about a lot of guys with a lot of experience. A lot of guys, if you look back to the MIC Showcase a year ago, so basically 1 year ago today, St. Mary's took the ice against Augsburg, and they had 11 freshmen in the lineup. So there's a lot of experience, but it's still a very young team. They had a lot of people that were playing were playing their first year, so they've all got that first year of collegiate experience under their belt. They've also got a pretty talented senior class, so there's a lot of talent on this team. And when you look at the Cardinals and how close they really were last year, if you look heading into the second to last weekend of the season, they were still in the playoff hunt, and they let a 3-goal lead slip out of their hands in a loss to St. Olaf, and they let a 3-goal lead slip out of their hands in an overtime loss to Gustavus, a team that went to the playoffs. So there's a lot of potential with this team, and you're right, a lot of experience. When 20 of the 25 people on the roster are back from last year, it's definitely a veteran group, and that chemistry is there. And I think that's the important thing for them is they've all played together. They kind of know what each other is going to do, and you've got a healthy Andy Scheib. So now St. Mary's is back to having 2 very talented goalies. Coach Moore likes to rotate his goalies, and so now he's got the advantage of having 2 very talented goalies, in Andy Scheib and Jason Horseman. And then you look at the captains that they've got in Tommy Healy and Vincent Unklesbay and Nate Peterson, 3 seniors. The future is bright. Now Coach Moore's got to be able to put all those pieces together, find the right line combinations, and hopefully things will go well. The MIC Showcase opens up this weekend up in Blaine, where all 9 teams are in action, and St. Mary's will play St. Thomas on Saturday and then come back against St. Olaf on Sunday. So 2 good non-conference games against conference opponents, which is a good thing for them.
Yeah, St. Thomas, St. Olaf should be great contests in that hockey showcase up in Blaine. And you talked about some of the defensemen, Donnie. 6 of their top 8 defensemen returned from last year. And I think Coach Moore is particularly excited about the defense. Reading some of his comments, he seems like that's where the strength and most of the improvement is going to come from. You talked about losing some of those late period leads last year. That's something that can't happen this year, and it seems like the focus, the attention is on defense.
Absolutely, and the defensemen that they have are all very talented. You've got 2 newcomers along with the 6 that are returning. So yeah, defensively they're going to be very good. And you've got Kevin Wentland and Austin Balco back up front, and Kevin and Austin were both honorable mention all conference last year. Austin was also named to the MIC all rookie team. So you've got some talent up front, and I think that Coach Moore is very, very positive about where they're at defensively. he's still concerned about putting the puck in the net, and they've got to find that offense. He's got to find the combinations that make sure that the offense is clicking on all cylinders, because the MIAC is one tough conference, and then you add into that the NCHA, which is all their non-conference opponents, including defending national champion St. Norbert. So it's going to be a tough haul all the way through the season.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Kevin Wentland. I mean, if he was great last year, if he has improved at all, he is going to be one special player, and that's where obviously the bulk of the offense will come from. He was their scoring leader a year ago, probably will be again, and then if he can get something around him there, they're going to be tough to stop.
Absolutely. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time this time of year. You can ask any of the coaches. Expectations are high. You've got, the women's hockey team has got a very good, solid returning group. Men's and women's basketball are both pretty solid. They've got some holes to fill with graduation, but everybody's excited right now. It's the time of year when, the seasons are just kicking off, and people are curious about what they've got, and hopefully everything will go well all the way around.
Yeah. And Donnie, the women's hockey team, their goal definitely the MIAC playoffs. They missed out somewhat surprisingly last year after making it the previous season, and definitely that's the goal. I know Coach Terry Manor believes with the returning players that they have, they can get back there, but as he said, that's a long ways off. They have to prove that they can go out week in, week out, and win those games, and consistency is what they lacked last year. And I really loved Coach Manor's comments. He said, I stopped practice 15 minutes in from the first practice day, and I had to talk to him. He's like, they weren't focused the way they should be. He says, they have to realize this is the year we've got to get it done.
The talent is there. Yeah. They have just an amazing amount of talent, and you're right, it's going to be that consistency, and Coach Manor's not going to hide it. He wants to get back to the playoffs. The players are focused on that. St. Mary's struggled at the end of the year last year and missed out on the playoffs by just 1 point, and he kind of goes back to it, and that was one of the reasons that he stopped that practice was you know what, you guys got to remember that every point in this conference is important, and you can't afford to take a shift off, you can't afford to take a period off, you can't afford to take a game off, and if they want to get to where they expect to be, and that's in the conference tournament, they've got to make sure that they're focused and ready to go. A lot of talent on this team. Sarah Gustafson's back in goal after sharing time last year as a freshman. And, defensively, they lose Diana Stewart, who was a two-time all-conference player. Very tough person to replace. But they're pretty solid back there with everybody else. And up front, they've got some goal scorers. And Erin Stenseth is back. Nicole Olson, who's led the team in points the last 2 years, is back. So they've got a lot of talented individuals. And I think that there's good reason for them to be excited about the upcoming season.
All right, another coach excited about the upcoming season is Eric Lindquist, and there we see their schedule. They're at Lake Forest this weekend. Next weekend's home games against St. Norbert, there will be right here on HBC Channel 25. But swimming and diving, Eric Lindquist, Donnie, real quick, just a minute left in this segment. He's excited because he's got a lot of returning swimmers. Liz Flynn on the women's side and Mark Ross on the men's side.
Yeah, no question. You named the two people that everybody should be familiar names. Mark has had an outstanding 2 years, and Liz is entering her senior year as the Cardinal diver, and Coach Lindquist has said this is her year. She's determined to make things very, very memorable in this senior year, and they kick things off with kind of a fun meet this weekend up at St. Thomas, the Tommy Relays. Every event is a relay, so it's kind of a way for everybody just to kind of get their feet wet and get going and get ready for the season.
All right, so those are the three primary winter sports getting started this weekend for St. Mary's, and we'll keep you posted on upcoming Cardinals Nest. All right, stay tuned here to HBC. We'll bring in volleyball coach Mike Lester next on the Cardinals Nest.
In Antwerp, Belgium, every diamond is unique, each with its own story. Holton's Jewelry offers you the rare opportunity to be a part of that story by traveling halfway across the world to choose your diamond directly from Antwerp's famed diamond cutters. Come in now before we head overseas, and you can secure your own hand-picked diamond from the city that has made diamonds sparkle for centuries. Experience the romance of an Antwerp diamond only at Holton's Jewelry in downtown Winona.
Hey you, sitting at home. Do you want some free movies from HBC and Family Video? Who doesn't, right?
Well, here is how. Watch Real Attractions on HBC TV 25 and look for the mystery movie title of the week. Enter that along with your name and email address at my.hbci.com/Real Attractions. The winner gets 2 new releases from Family Video, and new winners are chosen every week.
So join me for a new episode of Real Attractions every week, right here on HBC TV 25.
It's college football season and ESPNU is going deep. With over 65 exclusive games from the top conferences in the country.
Goes up and gets it. Wow, what a catch.
The SEC Game of the Week.
Got it! Touchdown!
And a full roster of college football experts live in the studio. From end zone to end zone, ESPNU has you covered.
And we are back here on the Cardinals Nest. Dean Beckman, Donny, Nadeau, joined now by Mike Lester, the volleyball coach for the Cardinals. And Mike, thanks for being on the Cardinals Nest once again later in the year than normal. Yeah, usually you're one of our first guests, but it got delayed this year. But we're happy to have you on and maybe recap the year for us. Normally we ask you to preview, but now here you are with just a few games left remaining, 16-13 on the season. Maybe give us a little bit of a recap.
Yeah, you know, it's been an interesting year. I'm not sure it's quite the year we expected, in a lot of different ways. You know, I think you know, a lot of people going into this season expected this to maybe be a rebuilding year for us, but our team really wasn't thinking of it that way. We knew we had some big names to replace this year, but we thought we had some good experience and some depth coming back, along with a great freshman class. And so we're really excited going into this year. You know, we faced a fairly major injury early in the season that really has affected us this year, but I have to give our young kids a lot of credit. They've really stuck with it and played some great matches as the season's gone on.
You know, not to take away from the fact that you have the 2 matches left, but as you look ahead, you know, you lose 2 people. Erica Hurley and Amy Kuyak are the only seniors on the squad. So obviously, as you look to next year, all these people with all that experience coming back, the future's got to be pretty bright.
Yeah, you know, it really is, Donny. I think that's something that we've kind of tried to keep on the back burner a little bit. You know, we have really tried to keep our focus on this season and you know, every practice, every match leading up to the next one and trying to continue to get better. But yeah, if we were to kind of step back and look at the future, we're pretty excited about it. You know, missing Amy for most of this season and then losing Erica next year, you know, those are going to be 2 big losses for us, but I think we're pretty excited about what we have.
Yeah, one freshman in particular, Mike, Kara Grant, has obviously stepped up. Was that expected, or the loss of Amy kind of expedited that a little bit?
You know, I think her overall numbers are probably a little bit inflated because of the loss of Amy. But we knew that Kara was going to be a special player for us. I think I mentioned it to Donny when the season started. I think he, one of his early releases, he misspelled Kara's name, and I went right in and I said, Donny, you need to get this one right because you're going to be spelling it a lot, I think. And that's been the case this season. And, you know, Kara's going to be a great player, but in addition, you know, we've got some other first-year players that have done very well. Mary Nordic has had a nice season for us. Molly Grover, Janae Fry's played very well, you know, to go along with Megan Scholes here recently for us as a libero. So, you know, we're excited about that entire group. But, yeah, Kara's played great.
I'm going to talk about Mary real quick. I'm always incredibly impressed. She says 6'3" on the roster, plays like 6'9", if you ask me. And we had some games here on HBC, and you saw some highlights there. But, you know, in the middle, she's an imposing player.
Yeah, you know, Mary is one of those kids that you don't get at the Division III level very often. And that's, you know, a 6'3", 6'4", pretty talented player. You know, usually when you get somebody, you know, at that height that has some pretty good volleyball skill, they're going to go a little bit higher. You know, and Mary had some of those offers to go to some other places, but she chose to come to St. Mary's and have her volleyball experience here. And she's going to be one of those players that really the sky's the limit for her, no pun intended. But she's going to get even better as the season goes on. You know, as of October 22nd, I think, you know, Mary was 11th in the nation in blocking as a freshman. So, you know, it's a good start for her, and she's only going to get better.
Yeah. Personally, I always like when the puns are intended. But you've got to mention Tara Rasmussen, too, and you brought her up. Just a terrific player. She's, I think, taken that next step this year and probably will again next year.
Yeah, you know, Tara's one that we've really relied on this year to kind of anchor our serve-receive. And she's been probably one of our more consistent performers for the season. You know, I think, you know, Donny and I have a lot of conversations conversation about, why we're at 16 and 13 versus maybe a little bit better. And the word I always use is that consistency. We've played great against some very good teams, and we've struggled against some teams that maybe we thought we should have done a little bit better against. But Tara has been very consistent, for most of the season. Now she's probably out here for our last two matches of the season with an injury, but she'll bounce back and be ready to go for us as a senior.
We were talking off camera before we came on about your schedule and the oddity of your schedule. You haven't been home since October 8th, and you'll finish off your season now at Carleton tonight, and then Saturday at Gustavus. Talk a little bit about the schedule, and is it difficult to have to play that many road matches, especially to end the year?
Yeah, it is difficult. What was most difficult was having senior night so early in the season. You're talking about senior night for our soccer teams coming up here this weekend, and we're almost 3 weeks past our senior day, which tells you how long it's been since we've been at home. But the nature of our sport is really we play a lot of road and a lot of neutral site matches with the number of tournaments that we play. So we're a little bit used to it, but it is tough kind of finishing out the season on the road.
I have to mention your tournaments this year. Donny and I kind of joked on the Cardinals Nest. Every time you had a tournament, you'd go 3-1. Great record. Last one, though, 2-2. But really the tournaments, I thought, nicely spaced throughout the year to kind of give you that non-conference break that you need.
Yeah, I think our tournament schedule worked out great this year. We're in the middle of scheduling for next year, and we're trying to figure out where we're going to go. And it felt like these all fit into our schedule very well. It's interesting. We're thinking about sending a waiver out to all of the tournaments that we play, saying, if St. Mary's comes, we're probably going to make the tournament run long because we've gone 5 games so many times this year.
Yeah.
So one of our parents wants us to make a T-shirt that has a big handprint on it that says "Give me 5," since that's kind of what we do. So
I was just going to ask you about that. 12 5-cent matches. How much does that help a team? Because you get to that 5th set, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You added to that. And I know one match it was 22-20 in the 5th set. I can't find the last time that you guys have ever played a 5th set that's supposed to end at 15, go to 22.
Yeah, it's interesting. Having done it 12 times this year, I don't know if our players feel any pressure for it. It's almost to be expected, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for us. So, I'd like to hope that we would come out and play matches and take care of business and get done in 3 sets. But, with a young group to play that many contests, that many 5-game matches, it's going to be good for us in the future. Maybe not great for my hairline, but really good for us in the future.
Yeah, no question. We were naming some individual players before, and obviously a total team effort, but Lexi Asimos, your setter, stepped up this year, had to replace some very good seniors who graduated, and as a sophomore, she has done a great job.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to remember that Lexi's only a sophomore.
Yeah.
Stepping in, she's been all-tournament team at every tournament we've played this year, really has been kind of that vocal leader, that real consistent player for us. And you're right, she did have to step in and replace Brittany Cherwinka from the last couple of seasons, and she's done an outstanding job. But it is sometimes difficult to realize she's only a sophomore.
I have to, and I know I'm going to get in trouble when we get back to the office, but you're going to have an addition to your team next year in that your assistant coach, Tessa, is pregnant and is due in January. Talk a little bit about Tessa's importance to this team.
Yeah, I have to give Tessa a ton of credit. We talk about, the young players in our program that are really have been critical to what we've done this year, and Tessa's been extremely involved in the recruiting process of those kids, and she's got great relationships with our players, and she's somebody that I can go to and bounce ideas off of, and she's not afraid to tell me what she really thinks, and at the same time she has, like I said, a really good relationship with players, but at this, she doesn't cut them much slack either. She holds them accountable, and they really respect that. And we've got a really good staff with all of our assistant coaches, but Tessa in particular.
Yeah. All right, Mike Lester, thanks for being on the show today. Good luck. Final 2 matches of the season coming up.
Great, thanks.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's Cardinals Nest here on HBC. Remember, the Haunted Forest, hosted by the St. Mary's University softball team, will be going on this weekend all the way through Monday, through Halloween. Starts at 7 o'clock, goes till 10 o'clock every night this weekend through Monday, Halloween. So if you get a chance, get up there and go through the Haunted Forest. All right, that's going to do it for the Cardinals Nest. Thanks for watching here on HBC Channel 25.